Yo, how's it going, folks? It's me again, your boy Tabo, and this is another lesson on SVG for the web. And today's lesson is going to be on text. So let's jump right to it. Okay, so I'm going to create my document. Say HTML. I'm going to say SVG. Size. Height. Okay. So now I'm going to create my text element. So this is text. Then I'm going to put it at the position of 600. So similar to a rect, which represents your x coordinate, the line that runs horizontally. Y is your y coordinate, which runs vertically. So I'm going to place it 600 units from the left, and then I will place it 150 units from the top. And I'm going to close that, and I'm going to create another tag. This will be the closing tag. And in between this is where I'm going to write my text. Okay, so I'll say all caps. Okay, so that's my text right there. Now let's see by default what this looks like. Now as you can see, I didn't specify much, so this is what I get. So that is black text, and this is the default font that I will get with it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start adding some stuff. So you can style your font by specifying your font size. So we'll say font size, and then we're going to make this 100. Now let's see what that gives us. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got a black font, which is very big, but still looks good. So up next, similar, I think you're familiar with this one. I'm gonna give it a filling, so this will change the color of the text. So I will give it a filling of, I'll say purple. Okay, so that's what you get. And so next I'm gonna create also another text element here. Here we'll say 300. Okay, so now we've got another text element there, and then we're going to change the text. Okay, so this is what we get. So here we're going to change the color once again. I'll give it a color of red. And so what I can do also with text, I can, for instance, I'll add an opacity, right? So if I like, I can make it opaque, and opacity can be applied to any other element as well, any other shape that is. So I say opacity, and I will make it 0.5. So opacity takes any value between 0 and 1. So when I say 0.5, then it will mean it will be 50% opaque. Okay, so there we go. So that's, you can also do, and then you can change the font size if you want. So just for variation's sake, let's just make this, make it 70. Okay, so that's what we have there. So now I'm going to create another duplicate of the element, and what I'm going to add here is I'm going to add another attribute, and this is called length adjust. Okay, first I'm going to change the text. Okay, there's length adjust. Now what length adjust does is it determines how much the text is going to be stretched. So first you have to specify the text length, and then you have text adjust. So actually it makes more sense. Let me start with the text length. It just means the amount of units that the text is supposed to cover, and this is the width. So say text length, and I will make it cover I'll say 1,000, and then I will reduce the size to 50. Let's see what that looks like first. Okay, so let me just bring it down. Okay, so there we go. So I specified my text length, and then I will say text adjust. And I'll say spacing. Now there are two values that you can give it. That is spacing, and then you have spacing and glyphs. Okay, so we're going to start first with spacing. So I said, yeah, text length 1,000, text adjust spacing. Okay, so now let's have a look at that. So I will also, before, let me just change the color. I'll make it yellow, and we will make it fully opaque. So I'll say 1. Okay, so there we go, but nothing much has happened. That's weird. Oh, my bad. This is my fault. Sorry. This is wrong. I'm supposed to write it like this. Yes, text adjust. Okay, there we go. This is my mistake. So this is what happens. You see, so now the text has been stretched to cover 1,000 units across the page. So this is what you would get, and maybe I'll move it just a little bit so that it can be a little bit more centered, because I think by default it has an anchor which is here in this corner, so that's why it's starting to basically stretch from that point to that one. Or rather, instead I will leave it like that for now. Okay, let's just leave it like that, and I will create another one here. So I'll say, and then I'll just change the text. Okay, so this one will have a color of green. Say green. And what I'm gonna do is it'll be similar to this one. Okay, first of all, let me also bring it down. Okay, so as you can see, they're similar, but the difference is I'm gonna change the anchor. So I'll say text anchor, and then I'll say middle. Okay, now let's see what that does. Now what the difference is that with text anchor, like I said before, it's over here by default, like on the left corner. And this is like the center point from which the text can be scaled, or from which the text is drawn. So when the text anchor is in the middle, then it means that basically the text is drawn from the middle. So it just stretches from the middle to cover the whole page to whatever size that is specified. And we have different options that we can apply to it. So like you see here, I've specified here that I want the text anchor value to be middle. So you have 3 options. One is start, middle, and then end. Okay, so since we have the 3 values that we can enter, I'm gonna also give the other text some attributes so that we can see the difference, right? So this one is middle, that's clear. So we're gonna make this one start, and then we're gonna add another one, and here we're gonna say end. So these different text elements will have different values. So this should show them the differences between start, end, and middle. Well, they're kind of in a terrible order, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's what that is. You see over here, it started drawing from here towards your left. So this is end. So our anchor point is over here. So the text is drawn towards the right, not towards the left. And then over here, this is start. So our anchor point is over here. So it starts drawing the text in that direction. Whilst here, it's in the middle. So it is drawn from the center and then stretching to both the left and the right side equally. So it is equally distributed between the sides. So this is what the difference is. Let me rather change this. Okay, let's say 500. So it's covering a distance of 500 units, but it's starting to draw from there over there. So these are the different attributes that you can add. So you've got your text anchor, it's got end, start, and middle. You've got text adjust. One other that I left out was with text length and text adjust is spacing and glyphs. So I'm going to use that one over here. So let's see what that does. Okay, so we're going to write spacing and glyphs. Okay, now let's see what that does. Okay, so that's what we have. I just changed it to spacing and glyphs, but honestly, it doesn't make any changes. I don't actually understand what exactly changes, but there isn't really any visible difference between spacing and spacing glyphs. But nonetheless, it is there. So maybe you can play around with it, explore it much. You can see what that does. Honestly, so far I haven't really seen any difference. So yeah, these are the different attributes that you have that you can change around and play around with to influence how your text looks. One last cool thing that I would like to do is to add an animation. You have also another attribute which is called rotate. Now you can apply this to also other elements. Doesn't just work with the text element. And what this does is takes values. Basically, it will rotate your element. But in this case, since it's text, then it will rotate each and every character, okay, depending on the values that you give it. So if I just say 10, it will rotate all the characters by 10 degrees. So I will show you. See, this is what happens. So now they're slightly slanted. And if then I give it two values, we'll say 20. So now what it did is this one is rotated by 10 degrees and then the rest of them are rotated by 20 degrees. So this is what it does. If I give it values which are equivalent, or maybe a list of values which is equivalent to the number of characters, then there will be a value for each character to be rotated. So at the moment it's only 2. So the first one will rotate the first character and then this value will rotate the rest of the characters. So let's say 30 and then 40, 50. So we've got about we've got 6 characters. So yeah, that's one more, 60. So this is what we will get. Okay, so that's how that works. So I can maybe increment it by, let's say, by 40. So that will be 90. Okay, so that's what you will get. Looks pretty messy, but yeah, that's nonetheless what will happen. Okay, so you can play around with that, but what I'm going to do in this instance is that I will create an animation. Right now I've shown you how animations work, so this time I'm just going to create something cool just to show you how you can play around with these values. So I'm going to choose attribute name, which will be rotate, right? So I'm going to choose to animate my rotate value, and I will give it the value of, so here I can specify the values that I would like to animate. Instead, no, I'm going to use from and to. So I will say from, meaning that I want the value to start from this. So I will say 0, 0, 0. Okay, that's 2, 4, 6. Okay, that's right. And then I wanted then to move from that to animate it from these values to these ones. Okay, so let's just take that. I'll just then change those. So I will say, or rather, sorry, let me just do it this way. It's a lot quicker. I will just then say 360 degrees. Okay, so it'll basically rotate all of them by 360 degrees. Then I will say the duration. I want the duration of the animation to last for 6 seconds, and then I will say repeat value, repeat count. So I want my repeat count to be indefinite. Okay, and then I will close the tag. Okay, so now let's check out what that does. Okay, one of them is moving. Now why is that? Let's remove that over there. Okay, so now they're all rotating. So this is what you can also do, to the values. You can manipulate them however you like, add some different animations to specific attributes. So yes, this is all the ability that you have with your text elements. Okay, so this is what I have planned for this lesson. So I'll stop right here. So all I can say is that explore, play around with these values, see what other cool stuff you can come up with. Until the next lesson, love and peace, my brothers and sisters. I'm out. If you thought this video was good and helpful, please press that like button. For any questions or input, just remember to leave a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to my channel and I'll keep more stuff coming your way.